Night driving can feel almost peaceful. The hum of the tires, the empty road, the way your headlights carve a path through the darkness. But once in a while, something appears out there. Something that makes you wish you'd stayed home. Tonight, I'm going to take you down 3 very real roads you'll never want to drive again. First, in mile marker 239 doesn't exist. A late-night commuter keeps passing the same stretch of highway, over and over. An abandoned sedan, a mysterious figure pointing toward a break in the guardrail, and a voice, his own voice, warning him not to take the wrong exit, or he'll never leave. Then, in The Man Who Wouldn't Pass, a driver notices a set of headlights in the mirror. No matter how fast or slow he goes, they stay exactly the same distance behind him. But when a second pair of headlights appears in front, he is boxed in and taken somewhere no GPS could ever find. Finally, in the bridge. That isn't there. A familiar route transforms into a road that leads to a massive iron bridge that shouldn't exist. Halfway across, a strange, tape-wrapped figure points toward a missing railing, and the driver learns that on this bridge, there's only one way forward, and if you choose wrong, you vanish. These aren't urban legends. They're true accounts from people who survived, but barely. Keep watching, because in the dark, the wrong turn isn't always on the road. Story 1, mile marker 239 doesn't exist. You tell yourself you're not tired, you're efficient. Coffee sloshes in a paper cup, the lid sticky with caramel syrup you didn't ask for, and the highway is a black ribbon unspooling into the dark. The dash clock reads 1:41 a.m., the kind of time that feels private, like a thought you shouldn't have said out loud. Your headlights chew through fog, the beams catching moths and dust. Like snow in a snow globe, someone keeps shaking. The radio is dead air and static, a whispering mask over a song you almost recognize. The GPS is sure. Stay on Route 88 for 46 miles. At 1:44 a.m., a green sign slides past, mile 236, like a soft verdict. You don't remember seeing 234 or 235, but you are fighting with the lid, swearing, laughing at yourself. You're fine. You're good. You're awake. At 1:49 a.m., your high beams rake over a shape on the shoulder, an abandoned sedan angled wrong toward the ditch. The hazard lights pulse a slow orange heartbeat. You ease off the gas, glance at your phone. No bars, you pass anyway. There's probably a state trooper around the next bend. There's always someone better equipped than you. The fog thickens. Your windshield gathers a film that smears under the wipers, and the road narrows, just slightly, like a throat. Trees press in. You tell yourself you're imagining it when the forest seems to lean. Mile 237. The sign is dented. You turn the radio off because silence is easier to fight than a song that can't commit to existing. Your tires hiss over seams in the asphalt. Somewhere out there, hidden behind a curtain of pine, a river keeps its secrets. Your coffee tastes burnt. Your mouth tastes like copper. At 1:56, you see the sedan again. Same angle, same hazards, same slow orange heartbeat. Different car, you say, because that's what a reasonable person would say. Maybe there's a lot of breakdowns tonight. Maybe there's road work funneling people onto this forgotten artery. Maybe you should have stopped the first time. You check your rear view. The fog swallows whatever you leave behind. Your taillights are swallowed too. The world ends exactly one car length behind you. You breathe. You grip the wheel. You think of a hotel with fluorescent waffles and a waffle iron you will definitely overfill. Sleep would be heaven. Sleep would be a sin. Mile 238. The number is hand-painted, white over green. The letters a little too thick, a little too human. You pass it, jaw tight. You glance at the GPS. The little blue triangle crawls across a digital road that is straight and honest and does not display mile markers. It never does. You just suddenly wish it would. Ahead, something pale at the shoulder. Not a car this time, a person. You slow. You're already braking before you know it. The old instincts clucking in your mother's voice. If you see something, you help. Your high beams rake the figure. Someone in a white hoodie, the fabric soaked dark at the sleeves. The person doesn't wave. They don't move at all. They're turned away from you, head bowed, like they're reading something at their feet. You roll down the passenger window a few inches. "Hey, you okay?" The figure lifts their head. Not all the way, enough that the hood shadows the face, enough that your breath stops, because faces are supposed to have certain shapes, and this one is a suggestion instead. A sketch that gave up. The person raises one hand and points past you, down the road. You follow the finger to a break in the guardrail 30 yards ahead. A long scar of flattened grass leading into the trees. "Accident?" you ask, but your voice has shrunk. You can't hear your voice over your heartbeat. The pointing hand trembles. The hazards of the abandoned sedan in your head keep time with the pulse in your throat. You fumble for the phone. Still no bars. "I'll drive to a spot with service and call. I'll tell them." The figure lowers their hand. They turn more fully, and the hood falls back an inch. In the split second, the light catches. You see hair slick with moisture, a forehead gashed like a road map. You see eyes that don't reflect your beams. You see a mouth that is softly open, as if about to say your name. You put the car in drive and glide forward, because motion is safety. Motion is agency. Motion is the only verb you have. As you pass the break in the guardrail, the air temperature dips 10 degrees, and your window breathes cold. You could look. You don't. You just keep moving, wondering if the tremor in your hands is caffeine or mercy. The fog takes a breath, and for a second, exhales. You see an overpass ahead, concrete piers like gray legs, and beyond it, a green sign hanging crooked. Mile 239. You check the GPS, a habit now. The triangle crawls. The ETA hasn't changed. The road is a promise kept by no one you've met. Past the overpass, the highway opens a little. Your shoulders unknot half an inch. Your blinker ticks loudly, though you're not changing lanes. You shut it off. It clicks back on by itself. You laugh, a tiny cracked sound, and shut it off again. The right indicator insists. Click, click, click. "Okay," you say, to the car, to the road, to the blank air in your back seat. "Okay." The overpass disappears in the rear view. In its shadow, for an instant, you see, no, not see, you know you see, your own car parked sideways, hazards blinking, driver's door ajar, as if you left yourself there in a hurry. You blink hard. When you open your eyes, there's only fog and the wet gleam of pavement. You tell yourself a story. You're overtired. That's all. Brains manufacture ghosts when they're starving. You promise yourself music at the next exit. You promise yourself a call to someone who will pick up, just to listen to your voice and say, "Keep going, keep going." Mile 236. You slam your brakes, hard enough for the coffee cup to launch and topple into your lap. You hiss at the scald, swipe blindly with napkins. You look up, heart tail-lighting the inside of your ribs. The sign should not be here. You should have gone forward. You should have arrived at 237, then 238, then the hand-painted 239. You should not be back where you started. It's a different 236, you say. There can be two. Maintenance, construction. You force your voice to be beige. A shape blooms in the fog. Hazard lights, orange, Heartbeat. Different car. You try again, but the lie feels like chewing tin foil. Same dent in the trunk, same county plate, same church bulletin wedged under the wiper, soaked through and flayed at the corners. You're already pulling onto the shoulder before you can invent a reason not to. Gravel crunches. The engine idles with a damp, tired sound, like a dog too brave to whine. You kill the headlights, and the world collapses to the strobe of the hazards. Orange, dark, orange, dark. The air outside tastes like wet pennies. You step out. The cold is immediate and personal. Fog fingers crawl up your sleeves. The other car's interior is black glass. You cup your hands against the window and peer in. The smell hits first. Mud, rain, and that sweet chemical pepper that screams airbag dust, and something else you refuse to categorize. The cabin is empty. The steering wheel is crooked, turned hard right, like a head bent in prayer. There's a paper map on the passenger seat, folded instead of crumpled, old as the glove box. A red pen has circled a loop in the road. Your loop. Mile 236 to mile 239. A neat oval, drawn and retraced again, the ink a little deeper with each pass. You back away. You turn to your car, your living, breathing, faithful car, and you notice something you didn't when you stopped. Your driver's door is slightly ajar. The interior light should be on. It isn't. You say your name out loud, because your name feels like a spell, and spells are supposed to hold doors closed. Get in. Drive, your voice cracks. On the last word, you climb in and slam the door and hit the lock button twice. The clack echoes. The GPS screen flashes. For a heartbeat, the map becomes a blank field. Then it reappears, and your little blue triangle isn't on Route 88 anymore. It's on nothing, on a gray patch with no roads, suspended like a bead of water on wax. Then, just as quickly, it's back on the highway, and the ETA has gained 2 minutes, as if you stopped for gas, as if you did something normal and forgivable. Behind you, something taps the rear bumper. Not hard, not a shove. A tap, like a knuckle on a door. You don't look. You can't look. You put the car in drive, and the engine protests with a noise you've never heard it make. The hazards on the other car continue their blunt conversation. The tap comes again. 2, this time. A rhythm. You clench your jaw until your teeth buzz. Okay, you say again, though you have no idea who you're bargaining with. You pull onto the highway and gun it. The fog peels back in sudden ribbons, and for the first time in miles, you can see far ahead. You can see the road rise and bow, and the line of tree dark like the backs of sleeping animals. Maldive. Stotini triziati siedmi. Normal. This is normal. It has to be. A mile later, your phone pings with a single bar. You hit the call button for the first contact you trust at this hour. It rings. It rings. It should go to voicemail. It doesn't. The call connects, and you hear breathing. Familiar. Wrong. Hello? You say. Can you hear me? I think. You do not want to say. Lost. You do not want to say. Loop. Words give shape to things. On the other end, your own voice, sleepless and tinny, says, do not take the exit. The line goes dead. Your scalp goes electric. The next sign grows out of the mist, as if it overheard. Exit 12, Old Quarry Road. You don't remember an exit 12 on this stretch. Your GPS doesn't show it. The shoulder narrows to nothing, and a new sign, nailed hand level to a blackened utility pole, flashes in your beams. Mile 238, in letters too thick, too human. Again. You pass the break in the guardrail. The flattened grass is a darker dark than the forest. For a second, your headlights find a scrap of fabric caught on a branch. A white hoodie sleeve, torn, fluttering like breath. You drive. You don't blink. Your eyes burn. Your blinker tick-ticks without your permission, and you slap it off with the heel of your hand, as if the gesture is a kind of exorcism. The road sighs under you. The fog pulls back for one more gracious second and gives you the gift of distance. Up ahead, framed by the arch of another overpass, a sign hangs crooked. Mile 239. There's a second sign beneath it, smaller, the reflective letters starved of paint. You don't want to read it. Your eyes read it anyway. You missed your exit. Your foot eases off the gas. Something in the rear seat breathes in, and from the radio you'd turned off, a voice like yours, only hoarse with water and gravel, whispers, "Don't look back." You hold your breath so long your lungs ache. The voice, your voice, still sizzles in the dead radio. Don't look back. It's a suggestion and a command and a prayer. You don't turn. You let the road spool toward you, hands at 10 and 2, like a student driver who knows exactly what happens if they fail. The overpass grows, a concrete jaw. Under it, the green rectangle waits. Mile 239, and beneath, the starved letters, "You missed your exit." You say, "What exit?" even though the sign already told you. Exit 12, Old Quarry Road. It had appeared like a dare, and then vanished from the GPS. Your blinker, which you swear you turned off, begins its tick-tick again, insistently right. The presence in your back seat exhales. A moist, patient sound. You catch it in the mirror, the impression of weight, the black shape that belongs to a person who isn't reflecting, the faint shine of wet hair. You angle the mirror up until you can only see your own eyes and the shiver of your lashes. Okay. You tell no one and everyone. One rule. I don't look back. You blow past the overpass, and for 8 heartbeats you feel triumphant, like you beat a rigged carnival game. Then the fog peels open, and you see what's ahead. Orange. A slow, patient, metronomic orange. The abandoned sedan. The hazard lights time themselves to you. You ease off the gas without choosing it. Gravel whispers. The shoulder receives you like a hand closing over a bird. "Don't stop," you whisper. Your foot disobeys. The tap comes again on your rear bumper. Polite, then firmer. Not a shove, not yet. A reminder. You kill your engine, and the silence is a physical thing. A big animal lying down on your chest. You step out. The cold tastes older than the weather. The fog has that river-bottom smell now, mud and rust, and a sweet rot, as if the night swallowed too many leaves. In the strobe of the hazards, the other car's back seat flashes, empties, flashes. The driver's door is open an inch. The airbag has dusted the cabin in pale chalk. There's a smear on the glass you decide, firmly, is from someone's hands. You look down at your own and see pale powder like flour coating your fingers. You haven't touched anything yet. The impulse to rub your palms on your jeans is strong and wrong. You spread your fingers and let the dust be mine. "Hello?" You call into the black. "Anyone?" What answers sits outside language, branches adjusting, water you can't see chattering against stone, the air sucking between your teeth because you forgot how to breathe like an animal, and now you have to relearn. From the trees, a click, not a twig, the sound of plastic under pressure, a turn signal canceling itself out and failing. You let the hazards lead you. Orange, dark, orange, dark. 30 yards ahead, the guardrail is crumpled into a parenthesis. The grass remembers. The slope is steeper than your headlights made it look. The white hoodie is there. Not a person. Fabric snagged on a branch at face height. The hood filled with rain and fog. For a second it's a skull, and for a second it's a cradle, and then it's cloth, only cloth. Beneath it, the slope becomes a spill of rock, and the suggestion of a creek. The fog hangs lower over the creek like a second thought. You take the first step down. Your shoe slides. You grab the guardrail and your palm catches on a burr of metal, and blood opens on your skin with a little, bright surprise. Somehow it's comforting. Pain is proof of place. The breath behind you, backseat breath, doesn't follow to the edge. It stays with your car, protective or unwilling, or both. Don't look back. You remind yourself, and go down. The crashed car waits at the bottom like a gray fish lying wrong in the reeds, its nose kissed into a boulder, its rear end raised, one wheel spinning slowly because something in the drive is telling it. The road is still here. Just be patient. The driver's door is open. The cabin light should be on. It isn't. There's someone inside. No, there's you inside. Your brain tries to be polite about it, tries to soften the details, tries to replace your hair with someone else's, your jacket with an approximation. The details refuse to be softened. The profile is yours. The bruise coming up along the temple like a sunset is yours. The phone dropped on the floor mat is yours, screen spiderwebbed, still lit to a call log that lists you calling you over and over, at 1:57, 1:58, 1:59. Your mouth makes a noise like a lost thing that just realized it's lost. You slide on wet leaves and catch yourself on the frame. The airbag breath is heavy as baby powder and funerals. Your other you blinks, slow, underwater. Your other you drags a breath up from somewhere, and it arrives as 2 words. Don't back. I know, you say, because you do. Your teeth chatter, not from cold, from math, from the way the loop suddenly balances. Okay, you tell yourself, you tell both of you, I'm going to get you. Me, out. You realize your car keys are in your pocket. You realize you don't remember putting them there. You realize you can become the pointing person in the road right now, or you can become something else. You wedge your shoulder under your own arm and pull. Pain ricochets between skulls. The seatbelt fights you, bit like a snake. You thumb the release and it clicks with a noise so small, it feels filthy. You drag yourself out. Other you is heavier in ways you didn't anticipate. Waterlogged with fog, humming with pain. Your knee barks. Your vision tunnels and widens. Tunnels again. Orange light stutters across the creek. You say your name over and over, because names are spells, and also because you need to make sure somebody remembers it. At the top of the slope, your car is a dark shape, with the driver's door ajar. The interior isn't lit. A rule you didn't write keeps the light off. The presence in the back seat gathers itself, thoughtful. Almost. You grunt. The slope steals your footing. The 2 of you slide, then lurch, then climb. You picture headline words. Good Samaritan, unknown, 2 a.m. You picture something small and stupid. Waffles. You tell the story of morning in your head and hook it to your sternum like a rope. You reach the scar in the guardrail and roll your other you onto the gravel. Your ears are full of the sea. That's what the forest sounds like at this hour. The sea without water. You stand. You sway. You put your palm on your car's roof to hold the world still. From below, the crashed car's hazard lights blink one more time and die. Silence gets bigger. Hey, you tell the limp weight on the shoulder. Stay with me. Your phone shows 1 bar. You dial. It rings. It connects. A dispatcher's voice is on the edge of existence, thready, undermixed, as if someone is playing an emergency services podcast through a wall. You say the words you're supposed to say, and they repeat some of them back wrong, as if you're not in the same universe. Mile marker, they ask. 2:39, you say, dizzy with the rightness of having an answer. 2:39 doesn't exist on 88, the voice says gently. Are you sure you're not seeing 229? You look up at the green metal. It waits under the overpass like a verdict hung high. Mile 239. Beneath, you missed your exit. The world tilts. A thought edges in sideways. Maybe you didn't miss it. Maybe it missed you. Maybe the road decided to keep you the first time you didn't stop. The first time someone else's hazard lights pulsed and you drove on. And now the road wants to watch you learn. Behind you, your car inhales. You don't hear it. Your skin does. The back door clicks and opens a fraction with the soft, greedy sound of a mouth at a curtain of water. "Sir, ma'am," the dispatcher asks, trying for category where none applies. "Stay on the line." "I have to." You begin, but the phone goes to dead air that is not silence but cicadas of the void noise, the kind the radio makes when it's pretending to listen to stars. You open your car's rear door, and the temperature drops again. Your breath clouds and hangs. The shape in the back seat has weight and outline now in the stutter of your hazard reflection. Wet hair, hoodie, your hoodie. A face that is yours, flensed of reflection. It leans forward, as if to step into you and wear you from the inside. "No," you say, because you finally know the rule. Not both. You grab the seatbelt and thread it around the back seat thing like a tourniquet. It makes no protest except to breathe in. You go to the trunk. You find the blanket you always promise you'll use on picnics and never do. You throw it at the shape, and for an instant it's that white hood in the trees, soaked and heavy and wrong. Then you go back to the other you on the gravel, and you do the opposite. You gather, you lift, you talk. You cram you into the passenger seat, legs in, ribs protesting. Your hands are powdered white and streaked red. You put the car in drive. The loop tightens its grip. Mile 236 stands where it shouldn't, smug with its dent. The GPS winks out and on, out and on. The ETA climbs like a fever. Your passenger breathes in small, furious sips. The thing in the back seat makes a sound like rain learning to speak. "Stay," you tell the breathing in the back. You say it like to a dog you love. You say it to a version of yourself who never pulled anyone out of a ditch. The old exit sign unfurls from fog. Exit 12, Old Quarry Road. Your right blinker ticks, the little soldier that never gave up. Your hands are slick. You could pass. Your voice on the radio said not to. But you understand something else now. Warnings in loops are always true and always incomplete. Don't take the exit if you're alone. Don't look back unless you're pulling someone forward. "Hold on." You tell the version of you that bleeds. You take the exit. The ramp is too steep, too narrow, designed by someone who never needed to get out in a hurry. Gravel spits. The fog here is flavored with limestone, with that cold white dust that coats lungs and men and memory. A chain-link gate waits at the bottom, yawning open as if it expected you. The sign on it reads, "No through road," and underneath hand-painted, a second line, "Except for rescue." You drive into the quarry's bowl. The night is quieter here, as if sound pools too. Your headlights catch on dozens of objects, wrapped in white plastic tarps and tied with twine. For a breathless moment, your brain says, "Bodies." Then your brain allows boulders. Then your brain goes perfectly still, because the tarps are printed with Mile 239 like a brand. There's a scale house with a dead window. There's a payphone, ripped half off its mount, and under it, a newer little gray box with a red button and an etched plate that reads, "Press and wait." You press. Nothing happens. The nothing is huge. And then after a time, that might be 1 second or all the seconds, a voice comes out of the box the way water does from a spring. "Who did you bring?" You look at the passenger seat. You look at the back seat. The two of you breathe, unsynchronized. "Me," you say. "I brought me." The box sighs. 1 for 1, it says, the way a cashier says a total. Leave the road what it took, and take back what you lost. Then drive and do not stop. If you stop, it'll know you again. If you look back, it takes both. The engine idles as if exhausted from keeping secrets. You understand with cold clarity what the trade requires. You open the back door. The white blanket gleams. Something under it inhales and gathers itself upward, eager, like a child allowed to stand on a seat to see fireworks. You speak your name to it. You say thank you. You say sorry. You back away as it leans towards the quarry and the night and the open gate that is not a gate. It leaves without looking at you. It never had eyes. It had your hungers. You slam the door. You climb behind the wheel. The other you, the breathing you, lolls against the glass and moans your name like a reminder. You floor it up the ramp. At the top, the fog thins. The highway greets you like a lie you're briefly willing to live inside. You merge. Your hands are shaking so hard, the wheel buzzes. You stare down the road until it's not a road, but a place you bully into existing with sight alone. Mile 236 goes by. You wait for the dent. It's not dented. You laugh, a sound not fit for air. Mile 237 is printed by a machine, not a grieving hand. Mile 238 is boring, bureaucratic, blessed. The radio coughs and comes back to life in the exact bar of a song you forgot you loved. Up ahead, under the overpass, a green rectangle hangs absolutely straight, Mile 239. Beneath it, a smaller sign that hasn't seen a brush in years. Exit 12, Old Quarry Road. No taunt, no accusation, just a place, just a way off for people who need rock and weight and answers. You don't miss your exit. You don't take it, either. You drive past, and this time when you check the mirror, you allow yourself one look. Your back seat is empty. Your hazard lights are off. You breathe, and the air tastes like air. Miles later, when the fog finally gives you back the stars, your phone buzzes with a voicemail from an unknown number. You play it on speaker, because bravery is sometimes stupid, and the stupid thing is the only thing left. Your own voice, hoarse and relieved, says, "If you're hearing this, you didn't look back." Then after a pause, "Next time you see hazards in the dark, stop. You delete nothing. You keep driving. You watch for orange. You hope you never see it again. You promise that if you do, your blinker will already be on." Story 2. The Man Who Wouldn't Pass. You spot his headlights in the mirror just after midnight. It's not unusual. Rural highways are long, lonely veins that still pulse with the occasional traveler. But something about the way those lights sit there doesn't feel right. Not approaching, not fading. Just two orbs burning steady, maybe 10 car lengths back, like they're tethered to you. The road is empty. Your GPS has been an endless chant of, "Next turn in 63 miles. The land here is flat. Wheat fields stretching into the dark like water under ice. No billboards, no houses, no other signs of life. You tap your brakes lightly, just enough to see if the driver will pass. They don't. Instead, the lights blink. High beams, low beams, high beams again, in a slow, deliberate rhythm. You glance down at your speedometer. 62 in a 65. You give the accelerator a gentle push. The lights in your mirror swell for a second, then hold the same distance. It's almost polite. Almost. A truck stop comes up in the distance. One of those run-down ones with a single yellow light and 2 vending machines out front. You consider pulling in just to let the guy pass. But as soon as your blinker clicks on, the lights in your mirror surge forward, closing the gap until they're barely 3 lengths back. You cancel the turn. The car behind you drifts back to its original position, steady as a shadow. You mutter, "Okay, what's your deal?" The CB chatter from your ancient radio crackles, even though you don't have a CB. It's just interference. It always is. But the voice is low, male, and close enough to make your scalp lift. Don't stop. Static swallows the rest. You shake your head, try to laugh it off, but it's a dry, papery sound in the empty car. The miles unspool. The lights never change. You try the old tricks, speeding up to 80, slowing to 45, drifting toward the shoulder. But the car behind you adjusts perfectly every time. Never passing, never falling back, just keeping pace, as though the driver knows exactly how much space you think is safe and intends to live there. The clock on your dash flickers from 12:19 to 12:20, and for some reason that feels like a change in the air. The road begins to bend, gentle at first, then more severe, curving into a stretch of woods. You haven't seen trees in hours. The moonlight breaks on the canopy, plunging the road into shadow. And in that darkness, the headlights behind you suddenly cut out. 1 second they're there. The next, nothing. Your stomach drops. You check your rear view. Only blackness, no light, no shape. You'd think he turned off, but you know there's no turn-off. Not here. Not for miles. You roll your tongue against your teeth, thinking of every highway horror story you've ever read, every news piece about drivers who just vanished. Your hands tighten on the wheel. Then you see them again. Not behind you, ahead. They're waiting in the middle of the road. You slam the brakes, tires screaming against the asphalt, the seatbelt biting your shoulder. Your car skids sideways, shuddering to a stop 20 feet from the idling vehicle. The headlights glare at you like eyes that have been open too long. Through the glare, you can just make out the silhouette of the driver's seat. Someone's there, unmoving, watching. The urge to reverse is strong, primal. You throw it into gear and spin the wheel, but the instant your rear bumper points toward the way you came, a second pair of headlights flares to life. Behind you, closing fast, your breath punches out of you. 2 cars, one in front, one in back, both idling, both blocking the road. The woods crowd close on either side. Dense, shadowed, silent. You don't think your compact sedan could plow through the undergrowth without dying. The only way forward is toward the one ahead. Your phone is on the passenger seat. You grab it with hands that feel like someone else's. No signal. The screen's glow paints your fingers in a ghostly light. The front car's headlights blink. High beams, low beams, high beams. The same slow rhythm you saw in your mirror earlier. Behind you, the rear car inches forward, tires crunching gravel, as if nudging you toward the other. You flash your own high beams in defiance. The front car responds instantly, cutting its lights altogether. The woods are now total blackness. You can't see the car. You can't see anything. A knock rattles your passenger window. You whip your head toward it. Nothing. You face forward again. The front car is closer. It didn't make a sound. Your heart is now a trapped animal. You shove the shifter into drive, ready to gamble everything on blasting past, when something moves in your back seat. Slowly, deliberately, you feel it before you see it. The change in air, the faint shift in the weight of the car, the sound of fabric against fabric. You don't look. You can't look. Your phone screen goes black. From directly behind your head, a man's voice, low and conversational, says, "Took you long enough to notice." You grip the steering wheel so tight, you can hear your knuckles creak. Your pulse is a loud, metallic thud in your ears. The voice behind you is calm, too calm. It's not the voice of someone in a rush. It's the voice of someone who has all night. You force your eyes to stay forward. If you look in the mirror, you're afraid you'll see his face inches from yours. And once you see it, you'll never stop seeing it. The front car's headlights roar back to life. Full high beams now, bleaching the road in white glare. Through it, the silhouette in the driver's seat tilts its head, like they're trying to get a better look at you. Behind you, the second car eases closer, its lights swelling in your mirrors. You're boxed in again. Every breath you take is shallow and clipped. The voice leans just close enough that you can feel the air from his words on the back of your neck. Don't bother trying the phone. We made sure. Your stomach churns. You force your own voice to work. What do you want? There's a pause, long enough for the back car to bump your bumper. Not a push, just a tap. A reminder that the road behind is closed. The man in your back seat chuckles, and it's not a nice sound. To get you where you're going. The front car's headlights blink twice. A signal. The man behind you shifts in his seat. You hear the click of something metallic. A seatbelt? Number A blade. Folding open. You slam the gear into reverse and stomp the accelerator. Your rear tires squeal as the car shoots back. But the one behind is ready. It jerks forward, blocking you, metal kissing metal with a hollow thunk. The impact jars your teeth. The man in the back seat doesn't flinch. Forward, he says. Now. Your choices shrink to one. You throw it into drive and floor it. The front car lurches forward too, leading you like a pace car. The trees blur in your peripheral vision, branches clawing at the darkness. Every time you think about swerving around them, the lead car drifts across the center line, daring you to try. Minutes stretch. The road curves and dips. Unfamiliar now, your GPS still frozen on the same next turn in 63 miles screen, like it never left. You can't shake the feeling that you've been on this stretch far longer than you should. Up ahead, the glow of a street lamp appears. The first artificial light you've seen in hours. Under it sits a narrow dirt road, veering off into the trees. The front car slows, signals right. Your gut tells you not to follow. Every nerve you have screams to keep going. The man in your back seat presses the flat of the blade to the side of your neck. It's cold enough to make you shiver. Turn. You take the turn. The dirt road swallows your tires. The canopy overhead blocks out the moon. The air smells damp, heavy, like a place that never really dries. The lead car keeps its brake lights glowing, just bright enough for you to see the jagged ruts and puddles ahead. The trees part abruptly, opening into a clearing. There are more cars here. 6, 7, maybe more, all parked in a perfect circle, headlights aimed inward. Some are rusted over like they've been here years. Others are clean, engines still ticking with recent heat. In the center of the circle, lit by all those beams, is a single wooden chair. Empty. The man in your back seat leans forward, close enough that you can see the reflection of the lights in his eyes in the windshield. Your turn. The rear doors of the other cars open almost in unison. Figures step out. Men, women, shapes you can't quite make out in the glare. None of them speak. You grip the wheel tighter. I'm not getting out. The blade kisses your skin just enough to warn you. You are. You weigh your options. Fight here and now with a knife at your throat and a ring of strangers in the dark. Or step out and take your chances. Either way, your survival odds feel like sand through your fingers. Your door opens. You didn't open it. Two of the figures from the other cars are already there, hands gripping your arms like they've done this before. They're strong, stronger than you expect. You're yanked into the cold night air. Your knees hit dirt. The man from your back seat walks around the front of your car, still holding the blade. In the flood of headlights, you can finally see his face. You wish you couldn't. It's wrong in ways that make no sense. Like someone tried to copy a face from memory and forgot small but important details. The eyes are set just a fraction too far apart. The mouth is a little too wide, and when he smiles, it's unfamiliar, even though something in you says you've seen it before. They walk you to the chair. You struggle. It doesn't matter. You're in it before you know you've sat down. The man leans in, placing the blade under your chin. "Everyone gets one ride in," he says. "Only one." He steps back. The headlights flicker once, twice, and go out. Darkness swallows the clearing. When they come back on, you're alone. The cars are gone. The clearing is empty. Your own car sits idling 10 feet away, driver's door open. Shaking, you stumble toward it, desperate to get away from this place, from whatever just happened. You slide into the driver's seat. The interior is warm, like someone's been sitting in it. In the cup holder is a phone, not yours, screen lit. It shows a map, a single blue dot blinking in the middle of nowhere. Above it, in red letters, next turn in 63 miles. You glance in the mirror. 2 headlights burn steady 10 car lengths back. They don't pass. They never will. Story 3, the bridge that isn't there. You've driven this route 100 times. You could do it blindfolded, from the long empty stretch past the water tower to the gradual curve that leads into town. You know every bump, every fading reflector, every gas station light, which is why you notice immediately when something changes. It's 2:13 a.m., the world stripped of color under the moon, when you crest a familiar hill and see tail lights far ahead. They're faint, blurred by distance, but the way they move, slow, steady, exact, tugs at you. Not many people drive out here at this hour. You keep your speed, figuring you'll catch up, but the tail lights seem to glide just out of reach. Every time you think you're gaining, they slide a little farther ahead, like they're measuring your patience. The clock ticks to 2:18. You pass the old silo. The tail lights should be curving off toward town now, but instead they keep straight, into a section of road you don't recognize. That's impossible. You ease off the gas, heart doing a slow, uneasy roll. Your GPS says nothing has changed. Just continue for 11 miles. But the road feels different. The asphalt is darker, almost wet-looking, and the white lines are thicker, freshly painted. You would have noticed repaving. The taillights ahead flash briefly. Brake lights, and then dim again. The air smells wrong now, too. Damp and metallic, like a storm over a river, but the forecast was clear. You think about turning around. You don't. Curiosity is a leash, and it's pulling tight. By 2:26, the tail lights slow to a crawl. They pass under something that looms across the road. A bridge you swear wasn't here before. Not a low overpass or an old wooden crossing. This is an iron monster, black beams lacing together high above, cables stretching into the dark. The kind of bridge that belongs in a different state entirely. You slow, staring. Your GPS map flickers once, then smooths over, as if the bridge isn't there at all. Just a solid gray line. The tail lights vanish into the structure. You hesitate at the entrance. The iron is old, pitted with rust, but the paint is too new, fresh enough that you can still smell it under the tang of metal. The road across looks narrow, without a shoulder. The wind picks up. It isn't blowing from the direction you came. Your phone buzzes in the cup holder. Unknown number. Against every ounce of reason, you answer. A woman's voice, calm, flat, mechanical, says, If you see the bridge, you can't go back. Keep driving. Do not stop. The line goes dead. You should turn around. You should floor it back to town and pretend this never happened. But when you check your rear view, the road behind is gone. Not fogged over, not dark, gone. Where it should be is only black water, stretching to the horizon. Your chest tightens. The only way forward is onto the bridge. You grip the wheel and ease forward, tires thudding over the seam where road becomes steel. The noise changes instantly. No more hum of asphalt, just the hollow clang of metal under your wheels. You drive. The bridge seems longer than it should be. The tail lights ahead are dim now, almost swallowed by distance, but still visible. You focus on them. They're the only proof there's an end to this. The water below reflects nothing. No moon, no stars. It's as if the sky above and the water below are the same black. The bridge, suspended in nothing. Minutes pass. You check the clock. 2:31. You've been on this bridge too long. Your GPS screen has gone completely black. The tail lights ahead flare suddenly, like the car just stopped. They sit there, unmoving, the glow staining the black air. You ease closer. The metal rails groan softly in the wind. Then, the tail lights blink out. Your high beams wash over the spot where the car should be. There's nothing there. No car, no driver, only the center of the bridge, and something standing in the exact middle of the lane. It's a figure, tall, still, completely wrapped in reflective road tape, strips crisscrossing like a cocoon, catching and throwing your headlights back in broken flashes. It lifts one arm slowly and points straight down. You follow the gesture to a gap in the bridge railing, where a single section is missing. The sound of the wind changes. It's coming from below. You realize with a cold weight settling in your gut that the bridge feels thinner here, hollow, like it could drop at any second. The figure doesn't move. It just points, steady as a mile marker. Your phone buzzes again in the cup holder. Same unknown number, same flat voice. Halfway there. The voice in your ear, halfway there, feels like a sentence, not an update. You glance at the gap in the railing. The black water below doesn't move. No ripples, no moonlight, just an endless, depthless absence. The figure's arm remains outstretched, pointing toward it, elbow locked as if frozen mid-command. The reflective tape flashes and dims with the sway of your high beams. Your foot is still on the brake. Your tires hum faintly against the metal grating beneath you. You know one thing for certain. If you stay still much longer, you're going to find out what's under that water, whether you want to or not. You call out, "Hey, what do you want?" No answer. You shift into reverse. The figure tilts its head ever so slightly, the tape crinkling with the sound of paper tearing, and the bridge shakes under your wheels. Not a gust of wind, not a car. The bridge itself groans, a deep, sick metal sound that you feel in your molars. The rearview mirror is no comfort. Behind you, the bridge vanishes into black fog after only a few feet. There's no road, no light, no way to see if anything is following you. Your phone buzzes again. Don't turn around. Drive forward. You slam it face down in the cup holder. The figure's pointing hand changes, not a casual shift, but a deliberate rotation, finger bending until it points directly at you. The bridge trembles again. This time, you hear something beneath it. Not water, not wind, something moving, something heavy. You floor it. The figure doesn't flinch as you speed toward it. The reflective tape flares, blinding white in your headlights, until you're almost on top of it. And then it steps aside, impossibly smooth, pressing itself against the bridge railing. You catch the faintest glimpse of what's underneath the tape. Not skin, not fabric, but a surface like polished stone. You drive past. For a moment you think you're free. The bridge ahead looks shorter now, the end in sight, the rails tightening towards solid land. Your chest eases, until you realize the grating beneath your tires is changing. It's not metal anymore, it's wood, old rotting planks, the kind that groan under their own weight. You feel every dip and splinter through the steering wheel. Ahead, the land you thought you saw flickers like a mirage. From behind, the sound starts. Footsteps, not running, not rushing, just walking, slow, deliberate, measured against your speed, and getting closer. You risk a glance in the side mirror. The figure is following you, not running, not hurrying, but somehow closing the distance with every step. Its reflective tape catches the faint glow from your tail lights, pulsing white with each movement. The phone buzzes again, vibrating violently against the cup holder plastic. Against your better judgment, you look. The screen is black, except for a single line of text. If it reaches you before the end, you'll never leave. You press harder on the gas. The planks groan louder, cracking under the strain. The end of the bridge wavers like heat over asphalt, and then begins to pull away, stretching farther and farther no matter how fast you go. Your breathing is ragged now. You flick your eyes to the side mirror. The figure is closer, 20 feet, 15. The head tilts again, the tape rustling, and you realize it's matching your exact movements. Every time you swerve slightly to avoid a broken plank, it swerves in perfect sync, like a reflection with its own hunger. 10 feet. The phone buzzes one last time. This time, the voice comes through the speakers, calm and final. Choose. And then you see it. 2 shapes ahead, side by side, at the end of the bridge. One is a narrow gap in the railing, leading straight into the black water. The other is a continuation of the road. Solid asphalt, glowing faintly under moonlight. The figure is almost on you now, steps perfectly in time with your heartbeat. You realize with a cold, snapping certainty that only one of those paths is real. If you choose wrong, you'll drive into nothing. You make your choice. The moment your tires hit the surface, the bridge roars like an animal. The world goes black for half a second, and then you're back on the familiar highway, the water tower a mile behind you, the road stretching quiet and straight. You're alone, except you're not, because in your mirror, half a mile back, 2 faint red tail lights glow. They don't gain, they don't fall back, and as you watch, they blink twice, high beams, low beams, in that slow, deliberate rhythm. If you've made it this far, you've traveled the same roads they did. You've seen the mile markers that don't exist. You've felt the pressure of headlights that won't pass. You've crossed a bridge into somewhere that shouldn't indeed be real. And maybe you're thinking, these are just stories. But if they were, why are there people who still refuse to drive certain stretches of highway after dark? Why do truckers warn each other about looping miles and bridges that aren't on the map? The truth is, most people who vanish on night drives are never found. Maybe they took the wrong turn, maybe they followed the wrong set of tail lights, or maybe something followed them. So the next time you find yourself alone on the road at 2 a.m. and you see hazards flashing in the distance, or a car matching your every move, or a structure up ahead you swear shouldn't be there, ask yourself, will you keep driving? Will you stop? And if you do, will you make it back? Because not everyone does.